shower and you go in the mirror and you kind of look at yourself and you're like, you know, I'm looking pretty good today. Or you're like, I need to do something, you know, I need some weight, I need to go diet. So you start thinking about your plan, how you're gonna do your diet, how things can go, and the next thing you know, your phone rings. It's your buddy. You wanna get drinks tonight? You wanna get some chips and dip? That's not on your diet plan. So your diet just went completely out the window and forgotten. And the reason I say this is because, there's a quote that's from Jim Rohn, and he says, your life does not change by chance, it gets better by change. So if you plan a diet, do your diet. It ain't gonna change if you don't do what you say you're gonna do. This should mean something to you because each and every day we all think of making improvements. My name is DeAnn and I am an intro to communication student. Today I'm gonna tell you about my service learning. And my voice is shaking and I am so sorry, y'all.
Don't be nervous.
I can't help it, it's like a natural thing for me. First I'm gonna tell you where I performed it and what I did while I was there. And secondly, I'm going to present communication principles and 2 communication concepts that are connected to my service learning. And lastly, I'm gonna discuss how I can improve my communication skills. So here we go. I completed my service learning at Chanel Elementary School. And that's also, it's in Little Rock, it's on Denny Road. We should care about our schools and find time to assist with their goals because this is what they ask of us. The schools ask us to come help. They need our assistance. The mission of my organization is on their website, www.chanel.pcssd.org. It's also the principal, she wrote it and she stated on there in quotes. Her name is Yolanda Harris. And it's quite long actually, as you can see, but basically she promotes the team concept. She wants to partner with the students, she wants to partner with the families, the staff, and the community, want everybody to work together. I did my learning actually in a classroom of Mr. MacArthur. And he would kill me probably if he saw that picture right now because we were in the midst of a party and everybody was of course having a good time. What I did is actually I'm a homeroom mom, so there's 2 of us. This time I got to do it all by myself. So planned from the very beginning, you know, how we were gonna set everything up, what we were gonna do and all those kind of things. What I did though is I took it upon myself to change the norm. You know, when you think of a party, you think cookie, cakes, sugar, Kool-Aid, stuff like that, and I went with some good old fruit and water. And this helped my organization because I was being a supportive parent, but also thought I was giving some healthy options. Providing healthy food options, it created, and I gave them creative ways to do it. There's some little skewers in there and they could like stab them and they could dip them in like Nutella, marshmallow, chocolate, whatever, something to make their healthy item feel fun and, you know, maybe it wasn't so bad to eat it because they had something good in it that they dipped in it. Now I'm going to discuss some communication principles and concepts. There is a communication principle and 2 communication concepts connected to my service experience. They are relevant because they show that my nutrition planning transferred information from me to the children. The relevant communication principle is messages reveal and impact the nature and relationship between communicators. The definition according to ULR Service Guide 2019 is every message, verbal or non-verbal, we interpret influences to some way how we see the relationship from one another. In fact, most of the time the messages that are seemingly have nothing to do with the relationship that tell us the most about it. An example from my service, it illustrates the principle, my example from my service that illustrates this principle is I was a support system for the teacher because he's doing too much. There's no way he can get to do all these things. And I thought the food was a good relationship thing for me to show them, and it gave it good exposure. This was a good avenue of exposure for it. My example illustrates this principle because the children view me as a parent and a homeroom mom, and they don't really think of something like health when I'm there. So I thought it was kind of an indirect exposure for them. The first communication concept is interpretation, and the definition according to Adler, Robin, and Dupree, 2017, perpetual process of attaching meaning to stimuli and that have previously been selected or organized. I previously selected and organized intentionally these items for the children, something different, something that was non-traditional. There's a closer look at it. Back to this. My example illustrates the definition because there's meaning behind the stimuli provided. Our kids are too sedentary, they do too much with technology now, and we eat too much fast food, and it's not good for them, so I thought, maybe they haven't been exposed to this at home or anywhere else, and maybe this is the first shot at letting them see something that might be fun and better for them. The second communication concept is uncertainty avoidance. Definition, according to our text, is the cultural tendency to seek stability and honor tradition instead of welcoming risk, uncertainty, and change. Now, actually, the classroom represents this because they would stick to traditional items like cookies, cakes, and you ask a parent, what are you gonna bring? That's usually the things they say. I changed it and took a risk by going with these options. My example illustrates the definition because I went against what everyone typically would have expected me to do. Moving on now to how I can improve my communication skills. I will not be as nervous as I am. But based on my service experience, I can use communication concepts and ethical implications to improve my communication and help improve my community. We should care about improving our community and learning more effective communication skills just because of the people that we're around, our school, our family, co-workers, and such. One communication concept I could use to improve would be attribution. The definition according to our text is the process of attaching meaning to something. I chose the concept based on the service experience because although I provided the healthy stimuli, I failed to verbally give the kids instructions on, why I was doing this. I was hoping the stimulus would just give them a thought and maybe a habit, something they could do. I chose this implication based on the service experience because once you knowledge, an ethical implication I could use to improve my community would also be responsibility. The definition according to our text is holding ourselves accountable for our choices, actions, and communication with others. I chose this because I feel once you have knowledge about something, it is your obligation to share it with others. If you know something's wrong or something's bad for somebody, if it's appropriate and you know when you can do it, insert it in there and give those people that type of education. I can use this implication to improve my community by taking opportunities to help make others' life better through educating others, being a support system, and creating assistance for change. In conclusion, today I told you about our service learning experience at Chenal Elementary School. I told you where, what I did, and what tasks happened there. We discussed the communication principles and concepts from our text and our survival guide and how these traditions were a little bit different than the norm. I didn't follow what the traditional thing was, I did something new. And lastly, I acknowledge the concepts and ethics that can help improve my communication. And in final word, we can help our community and improve the future of our kids' lives if we make changes. And that goes back to Jim Brown's quote, your life and others' lives cannot be better by chance, it can be better by change.